So now that we've introduced the coins that we'll take a look at in the Ethereum ecosystem, let's compare and contrast these different coins. And what we'll do is we're going to take a look at the 1 hour charts of the following coins for the month of April 2021. We'll take a look at Ethereum, Uniswap, Polygon, VeChain, and Engine Coin. And what we want to do is we want to look for correlations or patterns between Ethereum and other coins in its ecosystem. Do all the coins go up together at the same time? Do the prices fall at the same time? And one thing to take note of is the price changing at the same rate? And this goes for whether the prices are overall in an uptrend, prices are increasing, or prices are in a downtrend if they're falling. What is the rate of change? Are coins moving up or down faster than other coins? So here's Ethereum, particularly from the beginning of April 2021 to the beginning of May 2021. A couple of key points. So what we want to see is, we want to take note of is, at this point, these are new all-time highs for Ethereum. Ethereum had just reached $2,000 per Ethereum coin per Ethereum. And here we see one of the first dramatic price drops following this new all-time high of 2000. We see price fall on the 7th and the 8th, and then going into the 9th of April, and overall continuing its trend, its progression to the upside. Here we see a peak, a swing high on just on the 15th, really going into the April 16th. We see a new high established of maybe about 25.50, give or take, and then a resulting correction, a downtrend, a reversal to the downside. We see a bottoming out on the 19th, on the 18th, an increase back to the 19th, and then overall a reversal back to this upside, reaching a new all-time high of about 26.50, and then a sharp decrease downwards on April 23rd. And this would be reversed and would continue to the upside going into May, where ETH would eventually reach 4,000 per Ethereum token. Looking at those same dates, on Uniswap, we do see a bottoming out correlating with Ethereum. Now, we do see once again on the 14th, 15th, and 16th a peak. This does correlate. This reaches a new high, a new all-time high for Uniswap as well. A rather dramatic price drop on the 17th and 18th. This does correlate with Ethereum as well. During this time, Ethereum did have a downtrend, but it was not as severe as this particular candle, especially this wick. This was a rather dramatic fall to the downside, and then an ultimate recovery. We do see, similar to Ethereum, on the 22nd, a new swing high reached. While Ethereum did produce a new all-time high on this particular date, Uniswap did not. Its previous all-time high of about $39 was not quite breached here. Once again, on the 23rd, we do see a low and then resulting uptrend. Matic. Now, here we see, particularly in April, while Ethereum and Uniswap did see rather volatile price action, a lot more fluctuation, Matic didn't really see that kind of fluctuation really up until very late April into May. That's when really Matic started to take off. Here we see on the 7th, correlating with Ethereum and Uniswap, we do see a peak, a fall to the downside to about 30 cents per overall. So next up, let's take a look at Polygon Matic. Unlike Ethereum and Uniswap, which saw rather volatile and dramatic price movements throughout April, Matic did not really see that kind of price movement, that kind of price action until rather late April and going into May. That's when Matic started to come into its own. Looking at these particular predefined dates, we do see Matic on the 7th producing a dip, or producing a lower peak here, a swing low of about 32 cents, give or take, maybe 31 cents. This does correlate with Ethereum and Uniswap on this particular day. While during this time, we do see Ethereum and Uniswap overall reversing back to the upside and reaching new highs on the 16. Matic was fairly stagnant and fairly stable in this consolidation phase, overall staying about 35 cents, and then finally into the 16th reaching a new all-time high of just about maybe 47 cents. Price would correlate with the rest of the market, where we did see certain movement to the downside. Now, while on the 22nd, the Ethereum and Uniswap did show heightened patterns, higher levels of price action, we do see Matic here, once again with Uniswap, producing a lower high. Here we do see on the 23rd a movement to the downside, correlating with Ethereum, correlating with Uniswap, before really taking off into late April and May. Here's VeChain. Similar price pattern that we see with Ethereum, Uniswap, and Matic. This similar V type of shape, V price pattern. Price came down. Going on to the 15th, the rest of the market was seeing new all-time highs. VeChain gradually moving upwards, whereas Matic was rather stagnant. Uniswap somewhat stagnant as well. VeChain overall just moving upwards and really reaching new all-time highs. Really found and observed on the 17th. What's interesting here is that the rest of the market was moving upwards. Here we see rather volatile movement from VeChain. VeChain really coming into its own and moving in its own price pattern, separate from Ethereum, separate from Uniswap and other coins on the Ethereum ecosystem, and eventually falling on the 23rd. Now, many of the other coins that we have mentioned already did fall on the 23rd. We do see a rather dramatic drop here, and this could correlate as well with Uniswap, which did see a rather dramatic wick to the downside as well before continuing upwards. Now finally here we see Engine Coin. Similar to the other coins, we do see similar bottoming pattern found on the 7th. Slightly different, varying from coin to coin, but particularly on the 7th, we do see a new low, a new swing low that that can be observed and is noticeably observed in each of these coins on the 7th. Engine Coin really took off right after this and produced a rather dramatic and sharp reversal to the upside, reaching a new all-time high of about $4 per engine token. Now, what's interesting here is, resulting from this trend, Engine Coin really never took off and really never matched this price level and this type of price action for Q1, Q2 2021. Here we see on the same day that Ethereum produced a new all-time high, Uniswap getting near its all-time high. Overall, Engine Coin producing a lower high and really starting to confirm its downtrend for the time being. Lower high observed here, lower high observed here, and a capitulation observed on the 23rd, correlating with the rest of the Ethereum ecosystem. So here are some results to kind of put it all together. So here are some results to put it all together. All the coins performed well in April 2021, some more than others. The coins show similar movement in terms of peaks and valleys that we saw in chart patterns and the overall market structure. Now, in terms of price change from April 1 to April 1st to May 1st, ETH went from about $1,886 to $2,955 per Ethereum, which we can say is a 56.72% increase. Uniswap for the month went from $28.07 to $41.32, a 47.17% increase. Matic increased from 35 cents to 84 cents, a 138.64% increase. VeChain increased from 8 cents to 20 cents, a 140.16% increase. And Engine Coin increased from $2.42 to $2.82, a 16.49% increase. Now, it's important to note that several of these coins, such as VeChain, Engine, they did reach even higher highs than the ones noted here, particularly in the middle of the month. We saw in mid-April, VeChain went as high as 28 cents. Engine went as high as $4 per Engine token. But we're looking from particularly its month performance from the beginning of the month to the end of the month. How did it start? How did it end? Now, in terms of price patterns, the examples above highlight 4 instances of Ethereum highs and lows in a price, along with images of how the 4 Ethereum ecosystem coins responded at the same time. From April 7th to April 8th, Ethereum fell from $2,200 to about $1,950, which we see is a 11.36% decrease. At the same time, Uniswap fell from $31 to $28, a 9.67% decrease. Matic fell from 37 cents to 32 cents, a 13.5% decrease. VeChain fell from 12 cents to 10 cents, a 16.67% decrease. Engine fell from $2.30 to $2.05, a 10.87% decrease. And what's important to note and keep in mind, particularly in Engine, is that this could be seen as a continuation from the previous Engine downtrend. And what's different about Engine in this situation is that the rest of the coins, Uniswap, Matic, VeChain, could be considered still in an overall uptrend at this point. Now, from April 14th to 16th, we saw Ethereum rise from $2,400 to about $2,550, which is a 6.25% increase. At the same time, Uniswap rose from $32.50 to $39.50, a 17.91% increase. Matic rose from 37 cents to 47 cents. This is a 27.03% increase. VeChain rose from 15 cents to 19 cents, a 26.67% increase. And Engine rose from $2.80 to $3.30, which is a 17.86% increase. Now, what's interesting here and is important to note is that the higher market cap coins saw, in regards to Ethereum Ethereum being the higher market cap coin, the second largest market cap coin, but the highest in these comparisons that we're looking at. This increased the least and decreased the least generally, compared to the other coins that are lower market cap. There's much more volatility, and this is supported not only by the visualization of the charts and the highlighted days and particular price points, but also by the data supplied here. In terms of hard numbers, really generally the lower cap coins such as VeChain, Matic, Engine saw much more dramatic price movement regardless to the downside or to the upside, where here we saw Ethereum really only increasing 6%, Uniswap increased almost 18%, Matic increased 27%, VeChain about 27%, Engine about 18%. So this is something to keep in mind, that generally the larger cap coins will change less percentage wise compared to the smaller cap coins.